So one of the reasons that religion is always cited as being so important is its role in development. And on this map of the importance of religion, it's clear that it's very important in developing areas. But as a management student, and having taken Professor Ray's class last year, I think that religion can only go so far in developing these countries. And I think at some point there's going to have to be government and business and other sectors involved in raising the wealth of these countries to raise the standard of living. And Robert Putnam, in his book Bowling Alone, would say that the communities of faith could be training people to lay the groundwork of civil society, the rule of law, so that businesses can thrive, so that government can thrive. And yet we have this very solid separation of church and state that we encourage around the world. And so I wonder what you see as, do you see religion as promoting development on its own, and that there's going to be a sort of different path of development in these areas, or is there some role for religion to play in promoting the rule of law, being involved in laying the groundwork of governance and business?
Yeah, I absolutely do think there is that role for religion. And I don't actually think it depends on the separation of church and state. I mean, I may be wrong on this, but this is just my basic feeling, because in Britain we have an established church, which is the Church of England, right? So of which the Queen is the head. To be absolutely frank, at a day-to-day level, it's really immaterial. And I think the issue is not what is the constitutional position, separate or not. The issue is how far, is government prepared to allow people of faith into the business of helping develop society, and B, just as important, how interested are the people of faith in how their society develops and developing a rule-based, compassion-based, welfare-based system. And I think that, the very conference we had yesterday, which was about faith-based organizations and development, showed both their strengths and their weaknesses. But the faith communities in many of these countries are the only infrastructure that are going to be there, and they're going to stay there. So how they develop is very, very important. And this is why I think this is so important about how we view faith. If people of faith have that strong faith that is grounded in their values, right? So it's not just a matter of tradition or identity, it's actually about their values. Then I think they are more likely, is the way I would put it, to be prepared to engage in the way that civic society develops. And in some of those developing countries, they need it. But we also need it here, to be absolutely honest. I mean, if you look at, I learned this in government, in a Western government. By the end of it, we were actually trying to bring the faith communities in, because sometimes when we were dealing with problems to do, say, with drugs or rehabilitation of offenders or HIV/AIDS or whatever it was, actually the religious communities, the faith communities, were an important part of the solution, even in countries like ours. But it requires for those faith communities a certain attitude of mind, I think,